The point that I would like to mention in regard to modern family issues today is the issue of having children. And there is several points that I would like to point out here. Number one is some people say, Sheikh, I don't want to have children at all. And this is growing a trend that people don't want to have children. And I want to say in Islam, first of all, it's not allowed for someone to say, I don't want to have children at all, for no valid reason. For no valid reason. And the valid reason will be if will put the mother's life in danger. That would be the valid reason for not having children at all. But other than that, it's not a reason for you not to have a children. And children are a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that يَهَبُ لِمَن يَشَاءُ الْهِبَةُ, it's a gift. So these children are gifts from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For you to reject the gifts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that shows you being ungrateful. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala favored upon us, He made among you banina wa hafada, children and grandchildren. That's one of His favorite upon us. And that's why there's a concept the person should not say, I will not have children at all. And I'll tell you, many people that I know said, I don't want to have children at all. And after they have children, if you ask them today, hey, would you give up your children? They said, no, I will give everything in the world, but not to give up my children. The second point that I would like to, and people afraid of, why people say that? People afraid of the future, said war, economy, and you know what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took care of you and He will take care of your children. Ibrahim ibn Adham, once a man told him, I have 10 children. My wife just, mashallah. As his wife get pregnant by herself. He complaining about his wife and having too many children. So he said to him, a very nice thing. He said to him, انظر أي أولادك تظن أن الله لن يتكفل به أرسله إلي. Which one of your children you think Allah will not take care of him or her? Send him to me. So don't worry about this is the war, the future, the things that, alhamdulillah, say, don't be afraid of that. Have trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and take your precautions, make your plan well. The second issue is, can I decide how many children I have from the beginning? Can I say, I will only have one child. Can I have only 2 children? And I'm not going to have any other than that. Can a person come into marriage with that kind of pre-notions? The majority of the fuqaha rahimahullah said, no, it's not allowed to decide, or the country decide for the people how many children they have, unless there is a need for that, unless there is an absolute need and there is a justification for it, and I couldn't think of a general rule forever to be like that. Even China have started ruling them back that law that they have of the one-child rule. As for the family, if they say, I'm going to have only 2 children, I'm going to only have 1 child, you don't know what will happen in the future. You can plan. You said, I'm going to have in the first maybe 5 years or so, like that, I will have at this age, I will have these children. After this age, I don't want to have children. That planning is okay. You can plan that. But from the beginning to say it's only 1 child or 2 children, that's not something like you don't take it as a final decision. That may be the outcome, but this is not something that you basically make yourself enforce it in yourself or your spouse. The third point, can I delay the children? I just get married, I want to delay the children. And I would say, yes, you can delay the children. As a matter of fact, I recommend people who newlywed not to have children right away. I recommend a person to wait a couple of years or a year or 2 until you have a children. And the reason for this, and it's not like the old days, just, have a children the first, like I was in a wedding, the mother said, Inshallah, I'll see you guys in 9 months when we get the first child. The day of marriage. Why I personally recommend that. It's not Islamic recommendation or anything like that. Because I've seen a lot of problem happen during marriage. And sometimes you don't know what will happen. Maybe things will not go right. So you don't want to be tangled into this with children and to get your children tangled into this problem, especially if you see a red sign in the marriage, in the beginning of the marriage. Many people, after 20 years, they come to an end their marriage, and I say, why you waited 20 years? I have a child. I waited because of my kids, because of my kids. Also, you want to give yourself a time to invest with your spouse, to get to know her, to know you, without a third person in the middle, So that's something I will recommend for you to do, and it is allowed for you to delay the marriage. What about, can I say at one point, no children? I'm done. I'm 50 years old. I don't have any children anymore. As a man or a woman said, I'm 40. I don't want to get children anymore. But not for medical reasons, but because I don't think I can. I already have children. I already want to, focus on them. We say if you already have children, alhamdulillah, you have children, you maybe a couple children or more, and I'm good. I don't believe it's haram at this point to stop having children. Even if you take methods that might have a permanent nature, like some woman might do a surgery, as long as this is something both agree upon, the husband and wife, and this is something after having children, in an age and a situation that most likely you will not have children again. But I want to tell you, majority of the modern scholars said it's not allowed to be a permanent nature. Majority of the fuqaha today. And why I don't agree with this? Because even the people who tell you haram, for example, for a woman to move her uterus or her womb or to tie, her tube or anything of that permanent kind of nature, they will tell you because the Prophet ﷺ said, تَكَاثَرُوا فَإِنِّي مُضَاهِمْ بِكُمُ الْأُمَمِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Increase your children. First, this hadith does not give the sense of obligations on you to have many children. Two, you already have you have a number of children that you did your part, in the ummah. And also, I will say that we're not coming from the perspective of, I fear poverty no. With the modern society today, having children is not an easy thing. If you decide to have 10, mashallah, that's good. 20, up to you. But what I'm saying, life today is not easy when it comes to education, when it comes to more than money, which is time. To have time for your kids, to spend with your kids, to raise them properly. That's hard and a big challenge. And it's not an easy thing. So that's something that also has to be taken in consideration. Also, we say what some of the justifications said, one of the purpose of marriage to have children. That's one of the benefits, but not one of the purpose of marriage. That's one of the benefits. هذه من فوائد الزواج وليس من أهداف الزواج بالضرورة وليس من علل الزواج بالضرورة. Also, I would like to say that there is a difference between, somebody doing this out of imitating the culture of non-Muslim. You know what, it's enough. I'm going to have one kid and two cats and one dog. That's good enough for me. That's my family. That's not what I'm coming from. I'm coming from that, I have children and I reached a level because this temporary, the people who say not allowed to do a permit method, they tell you it's allowed for you to use temporary methods, and they make the temporary methods a permanent method. So this woman will take pills and shots and IUD all her life. You did the same thing. They said, what if she reversed her opinion? That's why we say you don't do that unless you reach to a level and point and age where you're very comfortable. That's not, I'm going to go need children anymore. Because these temporary methods have a lot of impact on the woman, their hormones, their psychology, and it's not an easy. One of the solutions as well, which is nothing wrong with that, men can use an operation that is reverse, or can basically prevent themselves from impregnating women. It doesn't affect your manhood. It's not going to affect, I'm not a doctor, but I'm sure if you ask the doctor, he will tell you that. It doesn't have an impact on that. It just prevents you from having children. And it is actually much safer and also more reversible and a little bit cheaper, I guess, or I don't know the price. I haven't tried yet. So, okay. just in case somebody have an idea. But you can ask. It can be an option, and Islamically it's correct. Because especially this will put you with the majority because it's a reversible, option. But it's not something haram or wrong to be considered. Abortion is haram in Islam when it comes to children. Abortion is haram. And many people come and say, Sheikh, I got pregnant, طيب, you got pregnant, nobody raped you. You know that you're gonna get pregnant. You accept that. You took that risk, on that. And, you don't know, maybe that child that you want to get rid of will be the best child you will ever have. Maybe because of that child you will go to Jannah. Maybe the one that will intercede for you in the Day of Judgment. So don't rush into this abortion business. Abortion allowed in cases where there is rape, where there is genetic disorder. You are allowed to do an abortion as long as it's not 120 days. And based on how the doctors calculate, different than how the fuqaha calculate, based on the doctor calculation, it is you add 14 days to the 120 days. With this period of time, abortion will be allowed if, in the case of rape, the case of genetic disorders, and you sure about this. It's not just an assumption, because sometimes people predict that it's not 100% scientifically proven, and the children come out fine, nothing wrong with them. But this is an area where there is justification for it. But other than that, after the 120 days, is not allowed unless it's the mother is live in danger. I hope to cover everything related to children that people ask about in modern days. Thank you very much, and continue our salah, inshallah.